Okay, so now that we've created this, my first page here, first JavaScript, let's take a look and see what is actually going on with this line here. So we created an input. This is a new line, and there are different types of inputs. There's a text box, there's radio buttons, there's check boxes, there's text fields and paragraph fields, and so there's a whole variety of different things that we can add to get some user interactivity on our site. All right. So this is just a button. It's obviously an input type or an input tag. I'm going to declare the type. That's what it knows it's going to do. The value, that's just the text that is going to show up on this button. So click me or click here or whatever you want to say. It's going to show up there. Um, then it's waiting. There's a mouse listener that is running behind the scenes, and it's simply listening to see, have I been clicked? And it's keeping track. So if I'm clicking out here, it knows that, but there's nothing that's listening for that. But this button definitely is. What happens when that click occurs? This is a function, and so it knows, the browser knows, to go to a script tag and look for a function with this exact name. So up in the head, that's where we typically put our scripts. You will see some web pages that will have a script tag in the body, but generally speaking, it's going to be done in the head. That's certainly where I put mine. So here is the script. We're saying that this is JavaScript. So it's important. It's not critical. You could probably get away with not putting it in there, but if there are tweaks to the language, most browsers are going to recognize, oh, this is JavaScript. I know how to interpret these kinds of things. We'll come back to this line 5, the var number, in a moment. But here is tester. So it bounces up. And this is always a good idea to do whenever you have a new method, a new function, to make sure that the call is working. This is the call here. So when it's clicked, I want to call tester. Comes up here, it finds, oh, sure enough, here is this function, open and close parentheses, just as this is. And I'm doing but one line. I'm just alerting hello world. What does that mean? If you click it, this pop-up comes up, and there's only one thing that the user can do. The user can only click OK. No information is getting passed back. I'm not asking the user to make a choice. I'm not asking the user to put in some information. The only thing, this is maybe at the end of the game over. You just want them to announce that. Maybe you're going to announce what their score is. But it's a way of stopping the web page. Here is this pop-up. If I had other things, animations or other things happening on this page, it would freeze until the user clicked on OK. So there is a loop that is going on, again, behind the scenes. So this is an alert. You don't see them a lot on completed pages, but I use it all the time when I am testing and debugging. I'm making sure that variables are holding what I want it to hold, that when this event takes place, pop up an alert just so that I can see that, yep, that is in fact occurring. So this is an alert. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a different type of response pop-up that a user can create. I'm going to create a variable, and it's important to know that a variable is just a container. I'm just going to hold some data, whatever that data might happen to be, for a period of time. How long? Well, that's a good question. And so I could put in, it's going to hold a number. It's going to be 0, or it could be 100, whatever I want it to be. This var is a label that is saying the next thing that's coming is a variable. The current version of JavaScript does not require this var term to be here. I do like using it because I want to, so in other words, I could just have answer and it would work. And I could refer to answer and it would output 0 and do all that kind of stuff, or v answer in that case. But I don't really like that. I don't, if I made a mistake, all of a sudden I have this variable, and I think it makes it a little bit messy. So I prefer to put that var in there just to indicate this is where I'm making that variable. I'm assigning it to this particular value, and it does in fact kind of stand out. This equal sign, this is a single equal sign. This means assignment. This is going to assign a value. It assigns what is on the right side of the assignment operator of the equal sign to the thing that's on the left side. So this is assigning 0 to answer. I could put another variable in here. So on line 5, I've got var number. I could assign answer to be number. All right, so now what would happen in this case is it would go look at the right side. This is a variable. It would find that memory address, identify, see what's there. It's going to be a 0, and it's going to assign a new memory location, a new memory address called answer to whatever this value is. In this case, it's going to be 0. So both answer and number are going to hold 0. What I want to do now is I'm going to I don't want it to hold a number. I want to prompt to show a confirm. I don't need this alert to work anymore. Well, I'll keep it for the time being, I guess. So I'm going to do a confirm, and maybe it's a, do you want to play again? Right, kind of a common thing. That should be surrounded by quotes too. And you'll notice that there is an open parentheses. This has to have a closed parentheses, and I'm ending with a semicolon. The semicolon indicates that this is the end of a line. Uh, Again, JavaScript would work without it, but it's a good habit to get into to have semicolons at the end of lines, unless there's a curly brace, which is what's happening here. So there is no semicolon at the end of tester. That means that when tester is called, it's going to go into this block and run all of the lines that exist here. So let's see what that does. Save it and refresh. And when I click, I get this, oh, do you want to play again? And now I have one of two options. I can either click on OK, or I can click cancel. Let's think about, and then the next line is the hello world. So that is popping up. What is actually returned by this confirm? That's an interesting question. You would think that those buttons are labeled OK and cancel. You would think that the term OK and cancel would be stored in that. But that's not the case. What I'm doing now on this alert that exists here, I'm going to output the content of that variable. All right, so if I put number in here, it would go find the memory of number, out and gather up whatever's there, 0 in this case, and it would alert 0. In this case, I've got answer. So I'm storing the user's response, OK or cancel, and storing that in this variable called answer. And now I'm going to alert it. I just want to see what is actually stored there. So if I save it and refresh, that same confirm is going to come up. But this time, when I click on OK, it doesn't say hello world. Instead, it's a true. So if I click on click the OK, true gets assigned to that value. There's a reason why that would be the case. You need to plug in the computer. Um, and same thing if I click it again, click on cancel. Now false. So that's good to know. If I wanted to, based on what their answer was, I give them one of two choices, I could test to say, is that variable, does that hold a true? And if so, run this. Otherwise, run that. So that's kind of a helpful thing to exist. That's very cool. I am going to, what am I going to do here? I'm going to comment this out. So this is a, think what I'll do is enter that, and I'm going to put a double slash. This is a single line comment. When there's a double slash, that means everything to the right of the double slash is a comment and it's ignored. So even though this is a line of code, it's going to ignore it because it's on the right side of a double slash. I can also write a comment that's just a note to myself. So if you want to take notes on your own coding and what's happening with that, you can just write a note and just say a variable store user input. Right? That's just again an explanation to me. When I look at my code 3 months from now, what am I doing with that? Oh, that's right. So having comments in your code is always a good idea. So we looked at a prompt. I'm sorry, we looked at an alert. We looked at a confirm. Here's a prompt. Prompt allows a user to actually type some stuff instead of just clicking one of two buttons. I can prompt the user to enter some data. What is your name? Right. And so now that so now I've got a prompt. I'm going to prompt the user to type their name. That is going to be stored in answer. So whatever they type in that text box, that's going to be stored in answer. I'm going to skip the confirm. I'm commenting that out. And then I'm going to alert whatever that happens to be. So that looks good to me. Save that, come back over here, hit refresh. And now here's a prompt. What is your name? My name is Tom, spelled right. And when I click on OK, there it is. I'm alerting Tom. Well, that's very nice, but it seems kind of silly to alert the exact same thing that was there. So what if we wanted to welcome them, all right? Have a message, include their name, all right? So it would be a little personal as they come up with that. I'm going to make another comment. So if when we use double quotes, text goes here. This is known as a string literal. Right? So any information, any text that is inside an open and a closed quote, this is a string literal. Answer doesn't output answer, it outputs the contents of this. Without those quotes, it is going to, it recognizes, oh, you're a variable. I'll go get the information that is stored in RAM at that particular point. If I did put quotes around it, as you might suspect, it's going to output the word answer. Just to prove my point, make this video a little bit longer for some reason. What's your name? There's my name. And answer gets alerted because it's surrounded by quotes. So in this case, answer is a string literal. Without quotes, it's referring to the variable. And the browser is able to make that connection. Knows that, oh wait, this is without quotes, you're referring to this variable. With quotes, it's referring to the string literal. So what I want to do is I want to combine a string literal with a variable. How would I do that? So I might say, welcome to my site, comma, space. But I want to join these two things together. That's going to be a problem for a program to handle. How do I do both a string literal and a variable? I've got to join them together with the plus operator. That is, so it's, I'm adding things, right? Just like I would add numbers. But in this case, I'm not adding numbers, I'm adding text. Here's some text to join, and I want to join this text with the contents of whatever's in this variable. I could output a score, so I know that my answer is text. But if I had a score, I want to say your score is, and I could do that too. So I could join text and a number, text and text and a true false, any of those kinds of things. So I'm going to save this, and now when I refresh, I've got, what is your name? Tom. and it's welcome to my site, comma space, gone, grammatically correct. All right. Okay, so that is those are the three different pop-ups that JavaScript knows, and it can be pretty useful. It gets annoying after a while, so every time you have to put in your name or have to click on a confirm or whatever, so using them sparingly is a good idea. Using comments is also a good idea. Uh, Again, double slash, things to the right of that is going to be ignored, whether that's code or just a note to future programmers or yourself. And those are the three things. All right. So we'll move on to adding numbers and the difference between local and global variables.